Hey guys, today I'm filming my Throwback Thursday of my March favorites from 2015. If you guys have never seen this video from me before, I have my playlist linked down below. And basically I'm going to be re-reviewing all the products I featured in a favorites video 2 years back and letting you know whether those products are still favorites or whether I have found something else that I prefer. My inspiration for this series is Kristen Game. I will have her channel and her playlist linked down below. I will also have linked down below the original video, and I will list and link all the items that I'm mentioning. Before I go and film these videos, I always go back and re-watch the original favorites video, and it is so funny how some of these things are still holy grails or they're products that I despise now. So it's just really funny to see that. And my first product is the Hard Candy Glamoflague foundation in Porcelain. It just made me so happy, and I was like, wow, I've really been using this for 2 years. I just purchased a third bottle of this, and I don't use this on its own because this foundation actually shows up lighter on your skin than it looks in the bottle. But this is my perfect mixer because this is very, very fair, almost white, but it does have a yellow undertone. This product is an absolute lifesaver for me because basically all other foundations are too dark, but this will lighten the shade and it will also give more coverage. This foundation itself has a medium buildable coverage, and my favorite combination is using this with the Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation, which is a little bit too dark for me. So the mixture of the two gets my perfect shade and it gives me even more coverage. So I do highly recommend this. I also have the shade Fair, which is a bit too dark. There's one shade between the Fair and the Porcelain, but it's really, really pink tone. But the Fair I will use mixed in with a little bit of this, and I love it. It does give it really nice coverage, and it just blends onto the skin so nicely and feels really, really silky. So I love this foundation in general. I would recommend wearing it on its own, but as a mixer, the shade Porcelain specifically works amazingly for me. This is a holy grail item. Next, I have another holy grail item, and again, it was just cool to see that 2 years ago is when I discovered this. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Powder in the shade 100 Translucent, which is not actually a translucent shade. It's very fair with a yellow undertone. So if you are not fair, do not be fooled by the name translucent. I wish they would have named it something else because usually translucent powders have no color, but this definitely does. It is the perfect shade for me. It does help to give me more coverage and help keep me matte. This is a holy grail item of mine. I will continue to purchase this forever and ever. My next favorites were some ColourPop blushes. I do have an entire review video on these. I will have them linked up here. I had 4 shades. This is Holiday, which is a matte finish, a really pretty peachy pink shade. This is the one that I've used the most. Then we have Fox, which is a peachy coral. It is a satin finish. It has a little bit of a golden shimmer in it. Early Bird is a matte finish, and this is a rose coral. Clutch is a matte finish, and this is a coral red. I think a couple of those shades have been discontinued by now, and honestly, those are definitely not still a favorite. I think the ColourPop blushes are incredibly difficult to work with. The best way I have found to apply them is with the Real Techniques buffing brush because it does have those duo fibers. It picks up that cream product really nicely, and because it is a dense brush, it helps to actually get it on to my cheeks, but I do have trouble blending it. I've tried using the e.l.f. small stipple brush, and you definitely will get a really sheer wash of color that way. So if you want the most coverage, I recommend the Real Techniques buffing brush, but I just don't like them. The consistency is way too hard to work with. I'm really excited that they are now coming out with some pressed powder blushes. Once I see more shades, they release more shades, I'm sure I will buy them and review them for you guys, but I definitely do not love these ColourPop blushes. I prefer the satin finishes because they're not as dry and they are easier to pick up on a brush, but in general, absolutely not. Those are not still a favorite of mine. And then I had 2 eye look favorites. The first was using the Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells trio, and as you can see, I've hit some pretty good pan on the lid shade, which is very exciting. And so I was using this on basically a daily basis. I was using this entire trio for my lid crease and the brow bone, but this is an all shimmer trio, and I don't like a complete shimmery look, so I added in a couple matte shadows with that trio. I was using Milani Bella Eyes eyeshadow and Bella Cappuccino. I am almost done with this. This is a fantastic, it says it is a satin matte finish, and it is a really great light neutral leaning cool tan color. This is a great transition color to use with this trio if you are a fair or light skin tone. So definitely still love this. As you can see, I'm almost done with it, so I must have used it a lot. And then I was also using N Wild Brulee, which is a matte cream, as a brow bone highlight because I do prefer a matte brow bone over a shimmery brow bone. And I was also using this CQ single in the shade Bark, which is a deep dark matte brown. I no longer use that because it is just a little bit too dark, and I like how light this look is, and this look is absolutely still a favorite. I love the quality of all of those shadows, and it is amazing for the spring. It pairs perfectly with really pastel cheeks and lips. I've been wearing it a ton recently every time I go to my practicum site, and currently I have not been wearing any liner and just mascara, so it looks more natural, but absolutely still a favorite. My next favorite was the Urban Decay 24/7 liner in the shade Whiskey, which is a cream finish warm brown color, and I was using it with that eye look, and I was just using it to line my upper lash line. I really did love that because it is a lot more subtle than black, and because I wasn't doing a wing, I was just lining my eyes. I loved the way that it looked. I did use that up, and I have not purchased any other brown pencil liners. I don't use pencil liners that much, which is the reason why I haven't purchased it, but I have been thinking about it recently because I love it with that look, but I never wear brown eyeliner otherwise. But with that look, I think it's really pretty because it is still enhancing my eyes and my lashes, my lash line, but it isn't as intense as black. So I do think that the Urban Decay 24/7 liners are a nice formula because they are really creamy. They come in a ton of shades. I like them on the upper lash line, but for me, I cannot wear them on the lower lash line or the waterline because they just really bleed on me because my eyes are so watery. But for the upper lash line, I think it is great, and I don't have a problem with it transferring. I do think it sets down fairly matte. And then my second eye look was using two ColourPop eyeshadows, and again, I didn't remember discovering this look so long ago. I was wearing this shade Amaze on my lid. It is a metallic finish, and this is a beautiful rose gold. And then I was using the shade Bill, which is a matte finish. This is a really pretty rosy, lightish gray color, and I was using this blown out in my crease and transition area. This look is absolutely still a favorite. I think it was even in my yearly favorites for 2016, and I had worn this on the day that I found my wedding dress, so it has even more significance to me. I really do love these shades. I don't love the ColourPop matte eyeshadows, but Bill works really, really well for me because it is a lighter shade and it blends nicer because it is lighter. And Amaze is one of my all-time favorite ColourPop shadows. I highly, highly recommend this. It is the most perfect rose gold shade, and the metallic finishes, sometimes I love them, but sometimes they have too much chunky glitter. This one does not have a bunch of chunky glitter in it, so I definitely recommend Amaze, and I would recommend Bill if you do have a lighter skin tone and you like the matte finishes. I think it is a really nice one, but this look is definitely still a favorite. And I did not have any lip favorites, but I did have one nail polish. This is Formula X Alive. This is a beautiful pink tone peach that is opaque in 3 coats. When I had purchased this, it was part of a limited edition collection, but I believe they had since added it to the permanent line. If you guys have not heard, Formula X is being discontinued from Sephora. All of their polishes are on sale for $5. I think almost all of them are sold out online, but check your Sephora stores and your Sephora inside JCPenney. I just went recently and I still saw a bunch of shades, so definitely see if you can find this and any other shades you're interested in. I highly recommend picking up because Formula X polishes are actually great, great quality. I love the packaging as well, and $5 for a nail polish is amazing. So highly, highly recommend this shade and Formula X polishes in general, especially now that they're $5. Go to your Sephora and look for some. Next, I had some brush favorites from RC Cosmetics. They did send this to me a while ago, but then I ended up buying the full sets of both of these. RC Cosmetics does not sell the brushes individually. They do sell them in sets. So this comes in a matte black highlight and contour kit, and this comes in a matte black face kit, even though they're all small brushes. These are dupes for the Sigma Kabuki brushes and the Sigma Precision brushes. And I think the quality of these are fantastic. I do have to say that I have had these brushes that are in the silver ferrules or the gold ferrules, and I think that the quality of the brushes and the bristles for some reason feel different. So I recommend the ones with the matte black packaging. They worked better for me for some reason. But this is the flat top angled Kabuki brush. This works so well for applying foundation, and I'm currently using this to powder my forehead because it does pack on powder really nicely, and I'm using it with a loose translucent powder. I do recommend this brush for powder for foundation. It is really great quality. And then this is a dupe of the Sigma P82 Precision round brush. I actually prefer this over the Sigma brush because that one has a little bit shorter bristles and it's more dense, and I was using that with cream shadows, but it was really hard to blend and it was skipping on my eye because it was way too dense. But this brush still has a nice density, but because the bristles are longer, it is able to have some movement and blend a lot easier. I also love using this for a transition brush with my ColourPop eyeshadows. So I recommend this as a brush for ColourPop shadows. It works really well for that, or any other cream shadow. I don't think that this is a must-have for powder shadows, and you probably could use it for concealer as well. So these two brushes are definitely still a favorite, and RC Cosmetics is very inexpensive. My next favorite were my Z palettes. I had the small and large Leopard Z palette. At the time, I was only using the small. I had 4 Makeup Geek shadows and 1 MAC highlight powder. This is how many Makeup Geek shadows I have now. I have an entire palette's worth that I have purchased, obviously within the past 2 years. If you would like to see all of the Makeup Geek shadows I have with swatches, I'll have that video linked up here. And then now in my small Z palette is where I keep all of my Anastasia eyeshadow singles. So yes, there is some recent controversy over the Z palette customer service. They just came out with this new tool to help you depot your eyeshadows, and it was priced very high. And a lot of people were leaving comments on Instagram saying it looked like a hot plate, and whoever is in charge of Z Palette social media was attacking customers saying like, oh, you probably couldn't afford it anyway, like go ahead and burn your fingers trying to use a lighter to remove your shadows, just really being petty and attacking back. And that's just not professional for brands to do. You should just like not say anything. Just don't reply, don't respond. So that was bad in the first place. And then Z Palette released a statement saying that they totally back up their social media person because they worked so hard to put out this product and they're not gonna put up with hate. And then I think eventually, because they got so much flack from that statement, they released another statement apologizing. So a lot of people are kind of boycotting Z Palette. They're using the Makeup Forever palettes instead. I know this is probably going to sound terrible, and while I do not agree at all with the way that they treated their customers and their followers, I am not going to get rid of my Z palettes. These were very expensive. I don't have money to blow, and these are amazing quality. I love the Z palettes because they are really sturdy cardboard. They have a great magnet, several patterns, and most other Z palette alternatives do not have a clear top. I like the clear top. I know the Makeup Forever palettes are cheaper. They hold more, but it is a black case. You can't see through, and I know I wouldn't reach them if I couldn't see through. So I'm keeping these. I'm going to use them, and I will love them because Z Palette is great quality. I'm not going to purchase from a Z Palette website. You can purchase Z Palettes from Makeup Geek, but you can also buy them from Ulta and Sephora. Z Palette has actually collaborated with Ulta and Sephora, and they have their own Ulta exclusive, Sephora exclusive pattern palettes that you can buy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy my Z Palettes from Ulta instead of from the Z Palette website. I know it still sounds like I'm supporting them, and I'm really sorry about it, but I am not getting rid of these Z palettes. But again, I do not think it is okay whatsoever with the way that they treated their customers. That was super unprofessional of them, and honestly the person that was doing that should have been fired. So I realize that might make some of you mad at me, and I'm really sorry, and I almost didn't even mention them because I didn't want to tell you guys, hey, I'm not throwing my Z palettes away, but I am just being honest with you. My last favorite was the Jordana pencil sharpener. If you guys have ever used the ColourPop lip liners, you know that the packaging is plastic. but it is a sharpenable plastic, and I find it sharpens really easily. And I use this freaking 99-cent Jordana pencil sharpener with my ColourPop lip liners, and it works really well. So guys, that is my Throwback Thursday of my March favorites from 2015. I would love to know your thoughts if you've tried out any of these products. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.